Good morning, my Earis. Quite an early morning this time, isn't it? You look refreshed for once. Are you saying I'm beautiful and I've had enough sleep? I am not. I understand the way I look, and the way others look at me. I just use it to my advantage. There's nothing narcissistic about it. Don't you do the same thing? With your looks. Sure, being the Earis has its qualities, but even without that power, your looks would get you far. I think I've made it quite clear you're attractive. Don't you get tired hearing me say it? And I'm the narcissist. And why do I talk up a storm? Because I can. And who always prods and pokes in the hope of getting a reaction out of me? Seems like you're in denial. If you didn't want to hear me speak, you don't have to talk to me. And I meant conversing in a civil manner during the trials, tolerating each other's company when it matters. The small talk, repeating the same good mornings, titles, the obligatory but apathetic wellness check, and maybe a weather report or light gossip to spice things up. It's boring, but it was still a choice for you. Yes, well, I chose to tease because it might be the last time I can ever do so. If you sit here on this throne, I'll likely never be able to do it again. Yes, you consider them insults, and insulting the eminence is punishable. I'd like to keep my tongue. Wow, a banishment instead of the red brass pincers. I don't know whether to be thankful for that.
Good morning, nobles and messengers of the citizenry. I'm aware that the short notice has been an inconvenience to some of you, so I'd like to thank everyone for your prompt attendance. The reason I have gathered you all here is to maintain the transparency of our laws to you and the public when concerning matters of the throne, and, currently, the invocation of the Imperium Rite. It has come to my attention that one judge, Ilian Croster, the churn of our economy, has conspired with individuals still under investigation to disrupt the outcome of the previous trial. He has been stripped from his duties to Serulla and has been charged with bribery, obstruction of royal conduct, and treason. Therefore, Ilian Croster will be sentenced to death along with his conspirators once they are identified. I will remind all of you here, the consequences of breaking not only the laws of our nation, but matters of royal importance will not be taken lightly. To manipulate practices since the formation of this country is grounds for disloyalty and is punishable by death. I would like to apologize to the people and to our current contenders for this violation of our esteemed realm. The trials are a tradition to select the next ruler fairly and without bias. I intend to adhere to that tradition, so when the next ascension occurs, Serulla will know that our new eminence will have earned the position. Thank you, safe travels, and Gods be with you.
Did she tell you that was the announcement? I didn't think so either. Well, it's out there now.
Good morning.
Morning, Mother.
Did you know about this matter? About Ilian?
No. The Earis and I only just found out, didn't we? Can you believe it?
Unfortunately, I can. I just thought they'd be more sly about it. Death for treason after the second trial. Some are getting desperate.
Desperate enough not to hide themselves?
The conspirators have. I wonder if Ilian was naive enough to think his so-called allies would shield him as much as they did themselves.
Did you know him?
Oh, yes. A greedy man, but who better to find more money for Serulla? Our pockets grow, so does his. And, as the economy Chan, he did his job well. There's no denying that. It's a shame, really.
Your Eminence.
Your Eminence?
Morning. A somber one, regrettably. Addressing treason isn't exactly what I had in mind for today's agenda.
I can only imagine.
I'd like to apologize once again, Sal Zaros. I spoke of impartiality before the trials began, and I have failed to keep it.
The trials are different compared to your other duties, aren't they? It's one of the only rights where the current Eminence has no weight on the verdict. And you can't be privy to their discussions because your child is a contender. So, whoever is responsible has taken advantage of your necessary absence.
It was only a matter of time. Perhaps this was a blessing in disguise, pruning the weeds before they spread their poison or strangle us. I doubt this will be the last.
I agree with you. If Ilian's accomplices aren't caught, they will try again.
I wonder if it's better to have Ilian caught and sentenced. Whoever was responsible knows the consequences, so they may be less inclined to act again. But if they do, they'll be more discreet and harder to find. You only just found out, I assume, so time is on our side, hopefully.
Yes, I'll do whatever I can to find them. I'll keep you both informed.
Thank you, Your Eminence. How are the next trials faring?
I'm told the debate questions are being decided on, apparently. Still waiting on the date.
The debates already happened, Your Eminence.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I say debate? My mind hasn't woken up yet. I meant the
What?
next
What do you
trial
want to talk
requires
about?
more planning. So it's a matter of waiting again.
Private?
Do you
Should
plan on
I
appointing
be
a new judge?
suspicious?
I've only spared a small thought to it, but I'm not sure
always
who else is
suspicious of you.
qualified.
If you'd like,
But
I could write a
My
list of
curiosity
suggestions
has
for
gotten
you.
the better
That
of
would
me
be helpful,
again.
Sal Nira. Thank you.
If you'll excuse us. Mother, Your Eminence.
Oh, of course.
They seem to be getting along.
So I've heard. They're the talk of the palace. Live entertainment for some.
And the topic of rumours for others.
We've had our fair share.
Yes, we have.
This is cozy. What are you talking about now? Are you listening to your ill-informed intuition again? I didn't tell anyone about what you said last night. How could I, considering the time you decided to visit? And I meant every word of it. Keeping something like that away from the people is, in my opinion, not a good decision. Because when they find out you are hiding it, and they will find out, all the trust that time has given you ends like that. I think this plays well for her. I made a tiny comment about her only just finding out. If I didn't know any better, I would have said the same thing. I wasn't implying that she lied, nor was I confronting her about anything. Again, where would I have found the time to tell my mother? I went to sleep soon after you left my room, and then I was woken by that beautiful maid about an early announcement from the Eminence. Which... the freckled one with the long plaits. Why? Oh no, you're not going to change the subject that quickly. Why do you want to know which maid? Well, I hope your curiosity was sated. But you needn't worry. Staff are off limits to me. Well, my betting habits were one of the things you mentioned when we met again, so it sounded like you cared enough to remember. If you say so, my Earis. Anyway, as I've said, I had nothing to do with today's announcement. I don't know what rumors might have spread or why she decided to address it. Maybe you should ask her first instead of accusing me. Besides, I don't play that way. The devious way. I'm tempted to, but I only stoop to your level when you do it first. Granted, the debate debacle gives me ample reason, but I won't do it for something like this. What? When have I ever started the scheming? Give me an example. A lot of things happened at Astron. You're going to have to be specific. Yes, spell it out for me. Still going on about that bloody letter that I never wrote. I'm not going to get into this again. I never lied. But that doesn't matter. And it'll never matter how many times I say it and have said it. You made up your mind years ago. You deemed me guilty. A leech that should be avoided. And then everyone else followed suit. I've lived with that. And I've come to terms with it. I'm not wasting my breath anymore. That's all I need to say. What more is there, What more do you have to say to me that you haven't already? Is your tongue frozen? I thought you said you weren't finished. I feel like you had something else to say, but I'll be prepared for the next trial. I have another class with Helema later today, so I'll leave now. Yes, again. I intend to take full advantage of your resources. I'll see you at the next trial, whatever that may be. My Earis. We haven't even left yet, and you're already frowning. Still not a morning person, I see. So grumpy. Have you not had anything to eat? You should eat on the road then. I'm bringing whatever I think is necessary. We'll be away from Ýalos for at least a month. One can never have enough herbs. There. Well, you never know. I have enough leaves and roots to make teas, salves, ointments, you name it. And I have some empty bottles for anything I'll find in Niverwood. Their stores are always a treat to browse. Well, the last time I was there, I think it was about 5 months ago. I normally go every couple of months because the stock changes with the seasons, but ever since the contention, I haven't been able to. Neither can I. It's already been 2 months since our reunion. Are you saying I'm a bore? Well, as inconvenient as the trials may be, the fact we have to travel outside the capital to get to our next one is intriguing in itself, don't you think? We're not cooped up in rooms like school children. No handing in tests. This is what I've been waiting for. Hands-on experience in the open air. Now come on, get in. Of course I'm excited. Aren't you? If Serulla's charm no longer appeals to you, you might have to ask yourself why. Death of passion is the death of devotion. So this is what the royal escort feels like. I could get used to it. Well, then I'll soak it in while I can, shall I? You don't take this road when you do your show around Serulla, do you? Well, I mean, it is a show, isn't it? Honoring the governing people, blessing the wells and the 10 shrines, holding the hand of a child who hasn't eaten in days to pray with them. Are you sure? Well, let me ask this then. Have you done any of those things on your own accord and not as an appointment? Thought as much. So, which way do you go? Past Orwood on Fisher Road. Ah, south is probably the better way. What is the best town you've ever been to? It takes 8 days to get to Nivrud. We're going to be spending a lot of time together in this carriage, on the road, in the towns along the way, so might as well get the conversation started. The courteous talk. Ah, you found me out. This is all a plot to have you divulge your darkest secrets. Come. The best town you've been to. Tell me. Good choice. Midmorn is beautiful. Have you walked the docks at night? Next time you go, try it. The churla that eats the glowing spores from Lake Zine swim downstream at night. They become small but beautiful lights in the water flowing by. Really? Are you not allowed out after dark, even under guard? If you don't want the attention of your guards, make up some excuse and slip away from them. Well, after Astron, my mother wanted me to have an escort. Everywhere. Everywhere I went, Haisari... what was his name again? Yuzen would follow me around. And it was as annoying as it was almost impossible to escape him. I agree, it's over the top, but this is my mother we're talking about here. A Haisari guard. And this one was trained in all fighting styles on this continent, plus some across the Hollow Sea. And he could read me strangely well. I wasn't a bad liar, I was fantastic. I still am, but somehow he always saw through it. So I had to evade him however I could. Though, thanks to him, I mastered the art of climbing through windows without a sound. It's a shame you never saw my skill in action. Well, even if I did want to, there's no getting through your window. Not unless I had a death wish. I am master of it. But I wasn't referring to me falling. The death wish is you pushing me. The book is for documentation. Our adventure. And we are living history. And I'd like to imagine sometime in the future, someone will pluck a book from the library about the Ylves and Atha'lin trials. I'll write what happens along the way. I started it a few days after the contention. Hands off. You don't get to see this until it's finished. I'll send you a copy before it's officially published. Why are you so concerned with what I write about you? I have no reason to lie. I'm not going to trivialize what happens, nor will I embellish it. It won't be completely objective, but it'll likely be more truthful than other future books about the trials. Don't worry, I'll paint you in a flattering light, if you deserve it. Maybe be kind for once, and I will. I think you and I have different definitions of the word kind. When have you been kind to me? When... At school, you only gave me that ice pack because it was your fault my arm got stuck in the door in the first place. I'm pretty sure I still have the scar from that. You letting me win that quiz was out of pity, not kindness. And you didn't want the prize anyway because you already had a gem like that. Yeah, that's just another way of calling me poor. I'm not a charity. What about... I'm not mocking you. Don't wreck your brain so much. You're going to hurt yourself. Astron was a cesspool of empty minds and false ambitions anyway. You didn't have an empty mind. You never have. You've been cunning since the first time I met you. Yes. Out of all the nobles there, you were one of the only students who had an opinion. The rest waited to become echoes of those with a resolve. Well, I never said they were good opinions. And to have one in our standing means it'll be dissected and challenged, and the louder you were, the better. And you were the loudest by far. I was second loudest, but that's only because I was the one to actually challenge you. It was entertaining. I won't lie and say I didn't like watching you seethe, but I wanted to know how strong in your resolve you were. Let's just say you're the most headstrong person I've ever met. Whether or not that's a good thing is open to interpretation. Indeed it is. It can be good or bad, depending. I find it more interesting to see what others think of themselves. If the words echo, so to speak, and what they do if it does. I know I can be frustrating. And yet, you tolerated me all the same. I was the one without friends. Are you sure about that? You had plenty of shadows, not friends. Believe it or not, I wasn't one. My existence isn't dependent on someone else's light. We agree on something. Ah, you found me. And you look different. Trying to blend in. I thought it would be nice to change my outfit too. The fabric suits you. I wanted to walk around Finrun, see the locals. We're only here for the night, so I didn't want to be confined to my room on Uteus's day. What are you doing out? I thought you didn't like being outside past sunset. Where are the guards? You gave them the slip. Maybe I'm a bad influence. Well, it's a beautiful night for the celebration, so I don't blame you. Do you normally observe them from your window or the gardens? And when you're all segregated within the palace walls, do you join the nobles in their segregated celebration? So when they're out writing their promises or lighting their offerings and dancing and connecting to the 10 on their day, you just watch? Solitary prayer is good, but sharing one is better. Doesn't it feel better when you go into the city centers on your annual circuits and pray with them? I imagine some days fall on one of the 10, much like tonight, and they'll think of it as a blessing that you came. Why would you rather pray alone? Well, not everyone wants for themselves. The nobles and their behavior shouldn't be projected onto everyone else. Every town we visit, they're different. On this trip alone, we've been to a few, and I wager that their prayers involve meaningful change for those around them. And today, on the 7th of the 7th, cities all across Serulla will be beacons in the night celebrating Uteus's wisdom, something we all can never have enough of. I still think it is one of my strengths, but I always pray for more, and tonight I will as well. Will you pray for wisdom too? Then I'll show you some. Come. I'm showing you not in the way you think. Well, you said so yourself. You're always indoors at night on your circuits, which means you've never really experienced the warmth a community can give you. Yes, my mother made sure I did. Even though she has station in Ýalos, her family and family home is from Taryn Hill, so I've been there plenty of times. It's like my second home. And even though that town was neglected, like many others south of the Monmar, the people are some of the most genuine I've ever met. Look at their parchment ribbons. I always tried to cover every inch of mine with all the things I wanted to learn. Recipes and tinctures, histories. How many ribbons do you have left? I have a few too. I think I have one more piece to learn from my Uncle Dariel on last year's ribbon, so once he returns from across the Hello Sea and he imparts his wisdom of his long travels to the east, I'll be able to burn it. Are you going to write one tonight? Why later? We'll do it together. The eldest is over there. I told you, I'll give you some wisdom too, but in order to do that, we need to be together for tonight.
2 ribbons?
Yes, thank you, eldest.
Would you also like to donate any spare rukul or runs to our day quiz?
What happened to it?
Last week, a stone came loose from the roof and almost hit a young boy during prayer. Poor thing. We've had to cordon it off, but we can't afford to restore it. The governor used our funds to repair a part of the docks a few months ago.
So is that the only house of worship you have?
Yes, but we all still gather outside the main doors in the courtyard.
Ah, that's unfortunate. How much do you think it would cost to repair the roof?
More than what we make in a month. We can only spare about 1 rupel a week at most if we're lucky. And the local folk chip in a few bronze here and there. I would say in total, about 250 more rupel, give or take.
I would be honored to donate. The harvest month is next, and more rain comes with it. At least this way, you'll be able to get the Daquis fixed sooner than later.
This is 300 rupel.
Yes, enough for the roof and any other repairs or purchases that are strictly for the Daquis and our faith.
Thank you, child. Who are you?
I'm just a traveler. One who can't have Finran's faith outside during the rainstorms.
Maybe on Osis's day.
Precisely.
Thank you once again. Gods be with you.
And you. What do you mean? I didn't see the need to tell them who I was. And besides, if I did, we wouldn't be able to spend the night like everyone else. As soon as they find out who we are, the judgment begins. We're no longer seen as one of them. All your life, being the Earis, have you ever traveled somewhere where the people didn't know who you were? Not once. Yes, the Ilves crest is rather distinguishable. Is that why you're not wearing it? Well, even more reason not to reveal who we are. Here. What knowledge would you want to know? I think I'll write ruling too. Maybe 2 key points. Unique to me. I want Uteus's guidance towards creating an exhibition for my art and showcasing it around the 4 nations. Yes. That drawing of Serulla's skyline and many others. I'm not only writing about the trials. I suspect that, in time, citizens will want a more intimate insight into who we are. And after it's all over, there won't be another contention for at least 50 years, if whoever rules lives that long. Or if something else comes up, like with your mother. You've never told me why she's renouncing so early. Do you know the reason? Will you tell me? I thought so. Everyone's likely thinking about it, though. I know it's not the first early renouncement, but you can't blame the citizens for being curious. She's, what, 55? 55, yes. And her father died at 79 when he was still the eminence. Naturally, you'd think she has more years to give. But she must have her reasons. I believe you. Okay. A shorter list this year, but I think I can achieve most of them. Are you that confident in becoming the eminence you made it short on purpose? To be expected. Time to join the festivity. Trust me this once, okay? Right now, we're not nobles, we're not contenders, we're not pitted against each other in the eyes of everyone who looks at us. We're children on Uteus's day, celebrating his wisdom and hoping for our own. Right. Are you ready for the next one? It's like how it was at Estron, only there's no competition about who dances the best. Look, everything doesn't have to be a competition between us. That's the life we lead now, but not in every aspect. I only shove it in your face because you do it in mine. For a couple of minutes, don't think of your duties. Don't think of appeasing the crowd or putting on a mask. They only see us as another pair for the dance. That's much better. I try to be out every year for this. Out of all the gods' days, the 1st of the 1st, the 7th of the 7th, and the 9th of the 9th are always the best ones. What? Is that jealousy or judgment that I celebrate Eva's love on the 9th? Ah, expected, is it? Well, I have a lot of love to give. It's what that day is for. Love, friendship, close connection. That's why it's the month before we celebrate death. So we're reminded what truly matters in life. In my own way, I loved them. I spend the day with the people who mattered to me at the time. Who do you share the day with? Only a couple of hours with your mother, and that's it. No judgment here. You're supposed to spend the day with who you love, even if it's a moment. Who will you spend it with this year? Again? Is she the only one in your life you care for? I'm not insinuating anything. All this time, you really have just stayed in the palace, doing your duty, and you never found a circle that mattered. Goes to show that the relationship of the nobles is just a farce. Our titles give us status very few have. Power and money are coveted, and it pushes all else away. Compare that to here. Much poorer with much less, and yet they live life and cherish it like this. The closer we think we are to the gods, the quicker we are to reject them. It's good to see you loosen up a little. But you're not as tense. Your face might even allow you to smile. You enjoyed that, didn't you? That's got to be the most convincing no I've ever heard. Can you be honest with me for once? Thank you. I knew you liked it. It's better than the celebrations at the palace, that's for sure. Isn't it better with other people? Well, they might be strangers, but can you trust the nobles more just because you know some things about them? That is my wisdom to you. Understand who they are. You might never know their names or the lives they've led, but their future depends on the one who rules. Their faith in Vidanity is strong, their dreams are innocent, and their future is our future. And they are the true heralds of Serulla. What I did for the elders, they will tell someone who will tell another. And the takeaway is that there are good people in this nation, willing to help. No, it's not why. I did it because it was the right thing to do. And I could have told them my identity to bolster my support of the community, but there's more to my life than the contention. There's more to your life than the throne. Well, you used to think like that. You used to make itineraries and lists of where you wanted to visit. Your first... It was Argenfell, wasn't it? So you could see the Mirror Mountain. Of course I remember. You wouldn't shut up about it when one of the students came back from their holiday. I'm pretty sure you locked them in the meat fridge, didn't you? Yes, they didn't know when to stop talking, did they? Oh, when our lives were simpler. In any case, I think it's about time we head back. The longer we're out, the more chance the guards will cause an uproar. And there goes our anonymity. I suppose I'll see you tomorrow morning. Tonight was a nice change of pace, don't you think? I'm glad you agree. Thank you for amusing me. Yes, you amuse me in many ways. Still, I had fun. I'll go first, so we don't attract attention. Your room is on the left, isn't it? Oh, don't climb into the wrong one, okay? Good night, my ears.